You'll notice there's two types of phone. I don't know exactly what you guys have on your desk. There's the 12 button and the 6 button, which is back there. Okay, they work identical. The only thing is you have some spare buttons here to program, whether they're speed dials, inter-office, busy lamp fields for coworkers, stuff like that. So that's really the only difference between the 6 button and the 12 button. Okay. Same features. Okay. One thing I do want to point out before we get into the user guide, and the user guide kind of deals with the first few pages of phone features, and the last couple of pages of setting up your voicemail, which you may have already done, okay, and then managing your mailbox after it's been set up, okay. But one thing I do want to point out, regardless if the phone's a 6 button or a 12 button, the layout is the same. You guys
it's just more extensions.
Exactly right. It gives you some more keys to program for speed dials and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody will have 4 hard-coded buttons, okay?
Right.
What we call cap keys or call appearance keys, okay, which are 3 appearances of yourself, which means you can handle up to 3 calls at one time if you needed to, okay? The 4th button that's hard-coded is an intercom button, and it's in the user guide. The intercom button just gives you the ability to toggle between 2 internal calls. So whenever I'm off hook on an internal call, my intercom key is lit red. If I get a second call internally, I can place my first call on hold, internal, and respond to my second internal call. So that's really all the intercom key does. Gives you the ability to manage 2 internal calls if you wanted to. Okay. The other keys available to you in the user guide I'll go through. You can program them, like I said, as speed dials, internal speed dials for coworkers or external speed dials. Okay. One more thing I do want to point out before we get into the user guide are these 4 keys just below the LCD display. And I, in the user guide, will refer to them a lot as soft keys. Okay? And they're called soft keys because they change depending on what you're doing. Okay? When the phone is idle, your soft keys are one way. When I go off hook, my soft keys change. When I'm on a call, I have different soft keys, maybe to conference. As well as when I'm in my voicemail, my soft keys will give me my new messages, my delete, my fast forward, my rewind, things like that. So whenever we refer to a soft key, we're talking about these 4 keys just below the display. Okay? So pretty simple. We'll go through the user guide. I've kind of edited the user guide to the features that we discussed, Wayne, Jerome, and I, what you guys use most often. Okay? Pretty simple, like the old phone system. If I want to place an outside call, the phones are equipped with what we call a hot keypad. So if I want to make a call, I can just dial 9. Okay, it'll go off hook. I'm on speaker. Okay, so I don't need to hit my speaker key to make a call. Once I start dialing, okay, I'm dialing. Okay, it's a hot keypad is what they call it. Okay, so the extensions have remained the same. Place an outside call, 9, 1 area code number. You'll notice the call appear on your first cap key or call appearance key. Okay. Internal calls, dial a 4-digit extension. Transferring calls, calls in progress. Press the transfer key, dial your 4-digit extension. You could either announce the call or simply hang up, and the call will transfer through. Okay. If the other party's not there, it'll eventually get to their voicemail. Okay. One nice feature is quick transfer to voicemail. I don't know if that's something that you had in the old phone system, but that gives you the ability to transfer a caller directly to somebody's voicemail box. So if I know if Jerome is out for the day and I have a call for him, I can hit transfer, dial his 3-digit extension, followed by 8 on my keypad, and hang up, and that caller will avoid the 4 rings before it gets to somebody's voicemail. Okay, so that's your quick transfer to voicemail. Okay.
On our old phone system, there was something similar called send all calls.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys probably don't. It used to say send calls, and that would send to your voicemail, not necessarily somebody else's. Similar though, very similar.
Yeah, it's basically taking an outside caller and pumping them right into somebody's voicemail box.
All right. So what about this? Do not disturb. You dial that extension 77471. It'll tell you do not disturb. That,
yeah.
That extension. That
No.
person. That line.
No, that's for setting yourself as do not disturb.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you want to put yourself into a do not disturb state.
All our extensions remain the same, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All the extensions remain the same. Automatic redial is a pretty good feature. On the left side of the round cursor is marked redial. Okay. If I press it once, it'll show me the last number I dialed, and it'll store the last 10. So if you guys are calling a lot of the same numbers often, I can scroll through my redials, and once I find who I'm looking for, I simply lift the handset and it'll dial for me. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So that's your last number
that's
redial.
cool, yeah.
Okay?
That's easier than the other one.
Conference calling, using your soft keys, pretty simple feature. Like I said, you have 3 call appearance keys of yourself, which means I can conference up to 4 outside parties if I needed to. Okay, I'm sorry, 3 outside parties plus myself. So I can get a 4-party conference call going per phone, okay? And it's a pretty simple procedure. It's following these instructions using your soft keys. Like I said, whenever I'm on an outside call, my soft keys are going to change. And the one feature I have is conference, okay? So with an outside call in progress, every time I'm on an outside call, I'll see a conference soft key. So if I want to get a conference call going with a call that I'm on, I simply hit my conference soft key. It'll put the first caller on hold, dial 9, area code, the next number.
The next number
okay?
will come in.
Once that party's answered, you're going to see your soft keys again will change. Where conference was, you're going to see an add soft key. You'll hit add. You'll see both your callers go on hold. The add soft key will then in turn change to begin. I want to begin my conference. I press my begin soft key. And at that point, you'll see your 2 cap keys will lit green. You'll have a 2-party conference. Same procedure to add a 3rd party. Conference, 9, area code number, or conference, another internal party. Maybe I want to get somebody in the office involved in the call. Once they've answered, they need to answer, I can hit my add key and my begin key to get a 4-party conference, including yourself. Okay? So that's your conference calling. Microphone. Keep in mind your mic key acts like a mute key. It's pretty simple. If my microphone is on and I'm on a speakerphone call, the outside party can hear me. Okay? If I'm on a speakerphone call and I want to, for whatever reason, mute myself, I turn my microphone off, I can hear them, they can't hear me. Okay? So it's probably a good idea to leave your mic on, okay? Unless you're on a speakerphone call and you want to mute yourself. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Okay? It's your sensor button. Okay? The next couple items are basically placing calls on hold. If I'm on a call on my line and I want to put a call on hold, I simply put it on hold. It'll go on hold on my phone. I can only retrieve it from my phone. Okay, so your hold key is pretty much a personal hold. Pretty much what you had in the old system.
Is there any type of music going on while they're holding?
That would be something you guys would have to provide me with. The system doesn't come with it, but if you were to get me a music on hold device or even a CD player that loops, we can get it into the system.
Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Won't you take me to down?
Oh, so
Yeah.
they're just listening to tone.
Just dead air they're listening to.
Yeah,
Okay. You can get music, we can plug it in. Okay.
Oh, we could just, yeah, we'll just
Get some
get like,
Mozart.
get a
Yeah, some-
DVD player or CD player, just.
Yeah, just make sure it's got a
Get
repeat
some
function
cool
on it.
jazz.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
jazz.
The next item is placing internal calls on hold, and pretty much what I talked about before, that's what your intercom key gives you the ability to do. If I'm on an internal call, somebody else calls me internally, I can just simply hit the answer key. It'll put my first caller on hold internally, hang up my second call, come back to my first call that's residing on my intercom key. The last item on page 3 is a pretty good feature. It's caller ID scrolling and call return. So pretty much like the redial key, it gives me 50 of the last telephone calls that it came to my phone. So if I hit my list soft key, which is the very first soft key when my phone is idle, they'll change and I'll get a caller ID, a CID soft key. If I press my CID key and scroll using the cursor, it'll show me name, number, date, and time of the last 50 telephone calls placed to my phone. And like the redial, the nice thing about it is if I find what I'm looking for, I simply lift the handset, hit the speaker key, and it'll return the call. Okay? Like I said, it'll store 50 and override as it goes.
Are these phones returning the actual caller ID when somebody dials out, or is it just returning? The old phones used to return 0600.
Right now, right now I have it set for 0600.
Okay.
We can set it on a per station basis. We haven't yet. We're
Okay.
going to work on that.
Okay.
Okay, depending on who wants to send out what. We can send out whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay. So moving along here, a couple more items before we get into voicemail. I don't know if you guys forward your phones off-site or to your cell phone. Okay. If you needed to, there's instructions here using your soft keys again to forward your phone. I know I know Jerome and I did it last night, okay, with his phone. The second item on page 4 is a pretty good feature for you guys because this gives you instructions on programming your spare buttons, okay? So if you have a 6-button phone, you have 2 buttons available. If you have a 12-button phone, you have 8 buttons available. Following these instructions, you'll be able to set up 2 or 8 speed dials on your phone. Once you've programmed them, simply press the button to call, okay? It also gives you, above those keys, station speed dialing. There's instructions here on setting up station speed dials. There's instructions on accessing system speed dials, which we spoke about. If you guys want to get a system list together, we can program that into the system, distribute a list out to you guys, and this will give you instructions on how to access the system speed dial. Okay. The last page here, before we get into voicemail, are just some basic user preference options.
So
okay.
if you get a list, can you, the list will have every one extension on it, on the phone, right?
Well, the system speed dial will be more for external, okay? That would be something that you guys would manage and you know, we would program for you, okay? Like I said, the last page is basically user options. There's some features. There's a group listen feature. It's pretty straightforward. Changing the name display on your telephone. Setting up a different ringtone. There's 8 different ringtones. Okay, so if you're working in a small office, you can set your ringtone to be a little different so you know when your phone is ringing.
Most obnoxious thing I can find.
Yeah, that's little things.
Adjusting ringer volume, stuff like that. And the very last item is putting your phone into Do Not Disturb. Okay, and it's by dialing a code. So if you're leaving for the day and you want everybody to go to voicemail, you could simply dial one of these codes. I would probably use *743, which sends all my calls to voicemail. There's different types of Do Not Disturbs. I could Do Not Disturb, external,
right? Yeah.
internal, transferred. I would just set it a Do Not Disturb all, okay? And when I come back in, just dial the code to cancel, and my phone will start ringing again, okay? And that's pretty much it as far as the basic phone features go. If you want, I don't know if you guys, we can move into the voicemail. I don't know if you set up your voicemail just yet.
Oh, I said already.
Yeah, Jerome was walking around yesterday and this morning getting people going. If you did set up your voicemail, you probably don't need page number 6 here, okay? But if you haven't set up your voicemail, the first thing you probably want to do when you get back to your desk is get that rolling. Because you won't be able to check your voice messages until you set up your voicemail box, okay? So what you're going to do is hit the voice message soft key, okay?
Please enter your personal security code.
She'll ask you for a security code. 0327 is the default. You'll only need that once, because the last thing she's going to do after the initial setup is have you change your security code, okay? So you'll log in using 0327. She'll walk you through a first-time setup, okay? Along the way, she'll ask you questions. You'll always respond 1 for yes and 2 for no on the keypad, okay? The last thing she's going to ask you to do is save your settings. Make sure you get to that point. If you hang up before you press 1 to confirm your settings, the next time you log in, you're going to have to set up your voicemail box all over again. So make sure you get to the very end, press 1. She'll say, great, welcome to the voicemail system. Now your voicemail box is ready to use, okay? What I'll do is I'll leave a quick test message on this phone, and I'll just show you how to navigate through voicemail using your soft keys. That is 3798.
Person you are trying to reach.
Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 3 4. So pretty simple. If you have a voicemail message and your voicemail box has been set up, you can now retrieve it. Okay. So it gives me a message count as well as an indication on my display. I simply hit the voice message key. I put my new security code in. Okay. And you'll notice your soft keys again change. Once I'm in my voicemail box, I have an option for new. Okay. If I want to check my message, I simply hit the new soft key. Okay. There's multiple things I can do during message playback, okay? I can pause in the middle, okay? Whenever I see a more option, there's always more options. I can rewind, maybe I missed a telephone number. I can fast forward, maybe I've missed or I'm looking for a phone number on a long-winded message, so I can hit my fast forward button, okay? I can obviously delete, replay, replay my next. Whenever there's a more soft key, there's always more options during message playback.
That's awesome.
Okay. What you want to do with your message is one of two things. You either want to delete it okay, saves room, right? We're using a compact flash for our storage. So deleting the message will save some storage on the voicemail system.
So about how many messages will it save?
You can save as many as you want.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't need them, it's
it's
suggested
gonna
to
be
just,
on there.
to delete them, okay? So there's two things you can do with your voicemail message. You could either save it,
Please enter your
which is
personal security
archive, okay? I'll see while I'm listening to my messages. There's obviously a delete. If I hit more,
code. Left a message.
I can archive it.
Archive.
The next time I log into my voicemail box, I'll see an old message, okay? And those messages will be stored there. So it's pretty straightforward.
Please enter your personal security.
It's just getting used to using your soft key as opposed to the old way you were doing things, which was probably like
Deleted.
The keypad.
Pound,
Two to delete.
pound, star, yeah,
Stuff
yeah,
like
star
that.
D, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'll happen is if you log into your voicemail box and you don't press your new soft key, after about 8 to 10 seconds, she gets you moving. You have a new message. Would you like to hear it? Okay. So you're better off just logging into your voicemail box, pressing your new soft key, and away you go. Okay. You guys check messages from the outside?
Yeah, thanks. It's way too much work.
If you do, the very last page gives you instructions on that. You can call the main number, log into your voicemail box, enter your security code. You're outside the office, so you don't have your soft keys, so when you're outside the office and you're dialing in remotely, she'll ask you questions. You have a new message, would you like to hear it? Again, always 1 for yes and 2 for no. Okay? So if you're checking from the outside, the last page gives you some quick tips. If you want to replay the message, you can dial 3, 4. Gives you a little, it speeds it up so you don't need to listen to her. She gets a little
Oh, you
talkative.
have to do 3, 4, 2.
Yeah, that's only if you're checking from the outside.
Yeah, I'll always have to check.
Yeah,
from
so
the
there you
outside.
go. So you use that last page. And that's pretty much it, unless you guys have any
Because
questions.
Wayne always calling for something.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
One other thing I just want to mention, that there's a possibility in the future that we'll have voicemail to email. We're still trying to figure that out. So if you get a voicemail, it'll end up in your Google mailbox, you can listen to it from there. We're not to that point yet, but possibly. We're gonna get to that point.
That'll work. Appreciate
All right,
it.
so you gonna work on that music?
Excuse me, sir.